Under the scorching sun of the Kruger National Park, the coalitions of lions reigned supreme over the savannah. Among them, a pride had recently welcomed 3 cubs into its fold. These cubs, born into the safety of a strong pride, represented the hope of their lineage. Their world was one of abundance. Tall grasses swayed in the wind, herds of wildebeest grazed in the distance, and the roars of their fathers echoed as a warning to intruders. In the early days, their lives revolved around play and exploration. The 3 brothers, though young, displayed signs of unity even then, sticking together as they wrestled and pounced. Their mother's watchful eyes ensured they were shielded from threats. The pride's dominant males, towering figures with dark manes, provided the ultimate protection, keeping rival lions at bay. But life in the savannah is never predictable. The harmonious world of their youth was a fragile balance. The coalitions controlling the area were always under threat, and younger males waited for their moment to challenge the rulers. The cubs, unaware of the political turmoil around them, thrived under the pride's current dominance, their world untainted by the struggles that awaited. As months passed, the brothers began to develop their own unique characteristics. One was bold and often led their escapades. Another was cautious but strategic, observing before acting. The youngest was playful, often the peacemaker when tensions arose. Together, they created a bond that would soon become their most valuable asset. The stability of their early life was a gift, but it also masked the inevitabilities of lion society. Soon their father's strength would wane, and the stability they had grown to rely upon would crumble. For now, though, they lived in a bubble of safety, unaware of the call to adventure that lay ahead. The peaceful days of their cubhood were not meant to last. As the brothers grew into young lions, their carefree lives began to change. Their once powerful fathers, who had fiercely guarded the pride's territory, started showing signs of age. Their roars, once commanding, now carried a hint of weariness. Rival coalitions prowled closer, sensing an opportunity to seize the pride. The scent of challengers in the wind marked the beginning of the end for their secure world. One fateful evening, the roars of a rival coalition echoed across the savannah. A battle erupted as the dominant males of the pride fought to defend their legacy. The brothers, still inexperienced, watched from a distance as their fathers fought bravely, but ultimately succumbed to the overwhelming force of their opponents. The rival coalition claimed the territory and the pride, leaving the brothers with no choice but to flee. Exiled from their birthright, the brothers now faced an unforgiving world. The savannah, which once seemed vast and full of promise, had turned into a landscape fraught with danger. Alone and vulnerable, they encountered hostile coalitions, relentless predators, and the constant threat of starvation. Despite the harsh reality, the bond between the brothers grew stronger. They learned to rely on one another, pooling their instincts and developing strategies for survival. The call to adventure was not one they had chosen, but it had been thrust upon them. They now stood at the threshold of a journey that would test their unity, strength, and resilience. Hello guys, if you like our stories and haven't subscribed yet, support our work and subscribe to the channel to help us. In the days following their exile, doubt began to creep into the hearts of the brothers. The vast savannah stretched endlessly before them, filled with dangers they had never faced alone. Every rustle in the grass, every distant roar reminded them of how vulnerable they had become. For the first time, the unity they had always relied upon wavered under the weight of uncertainty. The eldest, once confident, questioned their ability to survive without the pride's protection. "Perhaps we should return," he growled one evening, his voice low and uncertain. The thought of challenging the rival coalition was futile, but the instinct to return to familiar grounds was strong. The middle brother, cautious as always, hesitated. He knew the dangers of wandering into enemy territory, but feared the unknown just as much. The youngest, ever the optimist, tried to rally his brothers, but even he could not mask his fear. Hunger gnawed at their bellies as they roamed aimlessly. Each failed hunt eroded their spirits further. For a brief moment it seemed as though the weight of their journey might break them, yet deep within, they knew there was no turning back. The world they had left behind was no longer theirs, and the only path was forward. In the wilderness of the savannah, mentors do not take the form of wise elders or guiding figures. For the Avoca brothers, the harsh realities of survival became their teachers. Every failed hunt, every close call with danger, every scar earned in battle taught them lessons that no lion could have spoken. The savannah, vast and unforgiving, was both their adversary and their greatest source of wisdom. Their first crucial lesson came from their attempts to hunt. The brothers had always depended on the lionesses of their pride to bring down prey. Now, without them, the trio faced the brutal truth. They had to become hunters themselves. After countless failed attempts, they learned the art of patience, stalking in silence, positioning themselves strategically, and working as a team. Each brother discovered his role, the eldest as the leader, the middle as the tactician, and the youngest as the relentless pursuer. Another mentor was pain. A run-in with a pack of hyenas left them bloodied but wiser. They realized the power of unity. Alone, they were vulnerable, but together they were a force to be reckoned with. They began to move as one, communicating, through subtle glances and growls, their bond deepening with every trial. The savannah showed them how to adapt and survive. It honed their instincts, built their strength, and forged their brotherhood into an unbreakable coalition. Though no lion guided them, the lessons they absorbed from their trials would shape the warriors they were destined to become. The brothers, now hardened by the trials of exile, reached a turning point in their journey. Their roaming brought them to the edges of a new territory, a land teeming with herds of wildebeest and zebra, but also patrolled by rival coalitions. The scent of unfamiliar lions hung heavy in the air, a warning that crossing into this land meant inviting confrontation. Yet, the promise of abundant prey and the chance to establish themselves pushed them forward. As they stepped into this unclaimed yet contested land, the brothers faced their first true test. A group of nomadic males, younger and equally ambitious, spotted them near a watering hole. The ensuing confrontation was fierce. Growls turned to roars and roars to a flurry of claws and teeth. The Avoca brothers, now battle-tested, fought not just as individuals, but as a single coordinated force. Their unity overwhelmed the rival males, who eventually retreated, tails low and bodies scarred. This victory marked the crossing of their first threshold. It was more than just a battle won. It was a declaration to the savannah that the Avoca brothers were no longer wanderers. They had begun their ascent as contenders for dominance. With their confidence renewed, they ventured deeper into the territory, marking their presence with roars that echoed across the plains. The brothers had entered a new phase of their journey. The savannah no longer seemed an endless challenge. It had become a battlefield, and they were ready to claim their place as its rulers. The savannah tested the Avoca brothers relentlessly. Each day presented a new challenge, sharpening their instincts and strengthening their bond. The territory they entered was not easily claimed, as it was teeming with rivals and opportunistic predators. Yet for every test, the brothers grew more adept, turning obstacles into opportunities. One of their earliest trials came in the form of an ambush. A coalition of 4 males, older and more experienced, had caught wind of the brothers' growing presence. The confrontation was inevitable. The Avocas, though outnumbered, stood their ground. The eldest brother took the lead, roaring with defiance, while the youngest darted and feinted, exploiting openings in the enemy's coordination. It was a hard-fought battle, but the brothers' unity proved superior. They inflicted enough damage to force their enemies to retreat, marking another victory that bolstered their confidence. The savannah, however, was not just a land of enemies, it also offered allies. Lone lionesses seeking protection and strong genes began to gravitate toward the brothers. These alliances were mutually beneficial. The lionesses hunted for the coalition, providing much-needed sustenance, while the brothers offered protection from rival males. Through these partnerships, the Avocas solidified their hold on the land and began to father the next generation of lions. Predators beyond rival, lions also tested them. A pack of relentless hyenas, numbering close to 20, challenged their kills. The brothers learned quickly that their unity was their strength. Together they could fend off the hyenas, turning their snarls into a cacophony of retreating yelps. These encounters taught them the importance of vigilance, as well as the cost of letting their guard down. As the seasons passed, the Avoca brothers faced droughts that dried up watering holes and forced herds to move far from their territory. Hunger became a relentless adversary, driving the brothers to take greater risks. They began to hunt larger prey such as buffalo, which were far more dangerous but offered greater rewards. These hunts required precise coordination and immense courage, but with each successful kill, their reputation as fearless warriors grew. Through every test, the brothers carved their legacy into the savannah. Each scar on their bodies told a story of survival. Each roar echoed their growing dominance. The savannah was a brutal teacher, but the Avoca brothers were relentless students, emerging stronger with every challenge. Their journey was far from over, but their path to greatness had been firmly set. The Avoca brothers had established themselves as a formidable force in the savannah. Their territory now stretched across fertile plains, marked by their roars and the scent of their dominance. They had built a reputation as fierce defenders of their domain, fathers to a growing pride and masters of their land. But even the strongest coalitions face moments of darkness, where the very foundation of their strength is tested. As the seasons changed, the brothers encountered challenges that went beyond the physical. One fateful day, during a patrol of their territory, they were ambushed by a coalition of 5 younger, stronger males seeking to overthrow them. The battle that followed was vicious. Though the Avocas fought with everything they had, the numbers and energy of their opponents proved overwhelming. The youngest brother suffered deep wounds, and the coalition was forced to retreat, leaving behind parts of their territory to the invaders. This loss was more than territorial. It shook the brothers to their core. For the first time, doubt crept into their bond. The eldest brother, burdened by the responsibility of leadership, questioned his ability to protect his kin. The youngest, now carrying scars that would never fully heal, struggled to keep pace. The middle brother, ever the strategist, began to plan their next steps, but the uncertainty of their future weighed heavily on them all. The brothers sought refuge in the heart of their territory, a hidden enclave surrounded by dense vegetation and rocky outcrops. Here they licked their wounds and contemplated their next move. It was a moment of vulnerability and reflection, a pause in their journey that forced them to confront their mortality and the fragility of their reign. Though battered, the fire in their eyes had not dimmed. They knew this was not the end. It was a turning point. The Caverna Occulta became a place of renewal, where they gathered their strength and prepared for the battles yet to come. The ultimate test for the Avoca brothers came when their dominion over the savannah was challenged in ways they had never faced before. The coalition of 5 younger males that had previously forced them to retreat was not satisfied with partial victory. The invaders, emboldened by their initial success, began encroaching deeper into Avoca territory, threatening not just the brothers' control, but the very survival of their pride and offspring. The tension reached its peak when the invaders targeted a vulnerable part of the pride. A group of lionesses and cubs gathered near a watering hole. The Avoca brothers, though still recovering from their earlier defeat, had no choice but to respond. The pride's survival depended on their willingness to risk everything. The 3 lions moved with purpose, their roars piercing the dusk as they advanced toward the challenge. This was no mere territorial skirmish, it was a fight for their legacy. The battle that followed was brutal and prolonged. The younger males fought with the vigor of lions seeking to carve out their place in the savannah, but the Avocas fought with the desperation of those defending everything they had built. The eldest brother led the charge, his roars shaking the ground as he faced 2 rivals at once. The middle brother, with his calculated approach, flanked the invaders, exploiting every misstep. The youngest, despite his lingering injuries, fought with unmatched ferocity, his resolve unyielding even against overwhelming odds. As the fight raged, the tide began to turn. The unity and experience of the Avoca brothers proved superior to the raw energy of their adversaries. One by one, the younger males faltered, their confidence crumbling under the relentless onslaught. The battle ended with the invaders retreating, bloodied and defeated, their ambitions shattered. The aftermath of the battle was both triumphant and sobering. The Avoca brothers had defended their territory and their pride, proving their dominance once again. Yet the scars they bore told a story of a hard-fought victory, a reminder of the ever-present fragility of their reign. The pride gathered around them, the cubs watching in awe as their protectors stood tall despite their wounds. This moment marked the pinnacle of the Avoca brothers' journey. They had faced their greatest trial and emerged victorious, their unity and resilience unbroken. But they knew the savannah was relentless, and their reign, though solidified for now, would always be tested by the next wave of challenges. The victory over their rivals marked a turning point for the Avoca brothers. Their dominance was no longer questioned, and their names became synonymous with strength and unity across the savannah. With the immediate threats driven out, their territory flourished, providing abundant prey and resources for their pride. The lionesses hunted with renewed vigor, their trust in the brothers solidified by their bravery. The cubs, now thriving, played freely under the protection of their fathers, unaware of the sacrifices that had secured their future. This era of peace and prosperity was the reward for the brothers' perseverance and resilience. The coalition had not only secured their territory, but also ensured the continuation of their lineage. Their cubs, strong and healthy, represented the legacy they had fought so fiercely to protect. Each roar that echoed across the plains was a declaration of their triumph, a signal to the savannah that the Avoca coalition reigned supreme. With their position cemented, the brothers began to enjoy the spoils of their hard-fought victories. They patrolled their land with a confident stride, their presence alone enough to deter would-be challengers. The youngest brother, though scarred, had fully recovered, his spirit as vibrant as ever. The eldest, now a seasoned leader, carried himself with the authority of a lion who had faced the worst and prevailed. The middle brother, ever the tactician, remained watchful, ensuring their dominance endured. The reward was more than territory or power. It was the legacy they had built together. They had carved their story into the heart of the savannah, proving that unity, strategy, and courage could overcome even the harshest trials. The savannah was theirs, and for now, the Avoca brothers could finally revel in their hard-earned success. As time passed, the Avoca brothers began to feel the inevitable pull of age. Their once boundless energy now required careful conservation, and their once dominant roars began to soften. The savannah, relentless and cyclical, brought new coalitions of younger males seeking to challenge their rule. The brothers, now veterans, of countless battles, understood that their era of dominance was slowly coming to an end. Their once vast territory began to shrink as they relinquished peripheral areas to avoid unnecessary conflict. The youngest brother, bearing the scars of earlier trials, began to struggle with the physical demands of maintaining their realm. Yet the bond between the brothers remained unbroken, and they adapted to their changing circumstances with the same unity that had defined their rise. Rather than seeking to conquer, the brothers focused on safeguarding what truly mattered, their pride and offspring. They passed down their hard-earned knowledge to the next generation, ensuring their cubs would be equipped to face the savannah's challenges. Their legacy lived on in the strength of their descendants, who carried their bloodline and their lessons. The Avoca brothers' journey had come full circle. They had faced the trials of the wild, carved out their place in its vastness, and left an enduring mark on the savannah. Though the Avoca brothers' strength began to wane, their legacy experienced a powerful resurgence through their descendants. The cubs they had fiercely protected grew into strong lions, each bearing the traits that had defined the coalition: courage, resilience, and an unbreakable bond. These young lions carried the name of their fathers, rising to prominence in their own right and ensuring that the Avoca legacy remained alive in the savannah. The brothers, once the apex of dominance, became wise observers, watching as their lineage took on the mantle of leadership. The lessons they had learned and the scars they bore were passed down through their actions, influencing how their sons and daughters approached the challenges of the wild. Even as they stepped back from the front lines of their reign, their influence resonated through every roar of their offspring. In this renewal, the Avoca coalition found a different kind of immortality. Though their physical dominance faded, their impact on the ecosystem and the social structure of the lions around them endured. Their name became a symbol of resilience and unity, whispered in the roars of their descendants as they forged their own paths. The spirit of the Avoca Brothers rose anew, eternal in the savannah's endless cycle of life. The story of the Avoca Brothers did not end with their retreat from dominance. It transformed into something greater. Their journey through exile, conquest, and eventual resurgence left behind a lasting legacy, not just in the savannah, but also in the hearts and minds of those who observed them. The coalition had become a living testament to the power of unity, perseverance, and adaptation in the face of life's relentless trials. Their descendants roamed the lands with strength and confidence, shaped by the teachings and protections of their fathers. The Avoca name echoed across the plains, a reminder that even in the most challenging circumstances, resilience and brotherhood could triumph. Every lion that carried their blood embodied the lessons of survival and courage passed down by the brothers who had carved a legacy out of adversity. Beyond the savannah, their story became a source of inspiration to those who chronicled their lives. Conservationists, researchers, and wildlife enthusiasts shared tales of the Avoca Coalition, spreading the elixir of their journey to a wider audience. The lessons of their unity, their rise, and their sacrifices resonated with all who sought meaning in the wild's harsh beauty. The Avoca Brothers' journey, once a fight for survival, had transcended into a timeless narrative. Their legacy became the elixir, a gift of hope and wisdom to the savannah and to those who revered its raw and enduring spirit. In their story, the cycle of life found its eternal voice, roaring boldly across generations. Hello guys, if you like our stories and haven't subscribed yet, support our work and subscribe to the channel to help us.